YouTube, like the rest of the internet, is vast and entertaining, but here and there, once in a full moon, we arrive at a dark corner. Today is one of those days as we explore 5 YouTube videos with shocking backstories, part 2. "47-year-old Robert Bryans was a deeply unstable man. His life had spiraled out of control and ultimately decided to take his own life, but he did not want to go out alone. On June of 2020, the mother of his children called 911 to report that Bryans had taken the 2 kids in his vehicle and threatened to drive off a cliff. Police were immediately notified and a search and rescue begun. Officers managed to spot the vehicle, but upon noticing that he was being chased, Bryans immediately sped away and drove off a cliff, landing upside down in the water. Moments later, a canine officer arrived on the scene and miraculously rescued all 3 occupants. The father is currently being charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, abuse, abduction, and burglary.
This is Joey, and he runs the channel DJ Deaf Joey. As his name suggests, the man cannot hear and he communicates with his audience through sign language. Joey had a very deep connection with his audience, an audience that received the shock of a lifetime the day Joey decided to share a secret that you will witness for yourself. It all begins with this video uploaded nearly 5 years ago, and it tells us the following. Below in the description, you will find a link to the video. Just please be respectful.
This clip comes from Mexico. The man who uploaded it describes that there was a local fire, so armed with a camera, he set off to record the event. The crazy thing is that he caught something moving that almost everybody did not notice. The internet was quick to assume the supernatural, as there was something obviously strange taking place. A burning log does not normally move in this way. It wasn't until recently that reports from locals came out stating that it is possible a homeless man might have been taking shelter in the building at the time of the fire. As of now, this, although unconfirmed, is still a developing story. The following clip comes from Japan, and although it has made its rounds for several years, it is surprisingly still not that well known in the West. Many believe that what we see in the background was a ghost, but no, it was an actual person. Just like the Aokigahara Forest or the Golden Gate Bridge, many use this location as their final destination. His identity remains unknown. His family, to this day, probably still hopes for his return. A short clip that captured the last moment of a man who died nameless. Katarina was a giant Russian influencer. She went on to get married and even built a family with 2 children. Her beginnings were bright, but even brighter was her future. To celebrate her 29th birthday, she threw an enormous party. Millions of viewers tuned in to watch. As part of the party, she planned a special event which required large quantities of dry ice, carbon dioxide in its solid state, which upon contact with water changes its solid state into gas, causing the following effect. Her goal was to get many of the attendees to jump into her pool after throwing in large quantities of this material. What she failed to realize was that a byproduct of this chemical reaction was H2CO3, also known as carbonic acid. Not only was this pool indoors, but the chemical reaction also had the potential of causing severe chemical burns. This is the video from the party.
Oh my God, Валя, you're crazy.
Материал только что обновленный. Сухой лед. Сухой лед. Твердый диоксид углерода СО2 при обычных условиях, переходящий в газообразное состояние.
Еще очки?
За что такая творится? Итак, вырабатывается он на утилизных установках и используется для охлаждения пищевых продуктов. Вы готовы?
Да!
У нас есть самый смелый? Да! Где он?
At first sight, it all seems like fun, but the result was a total of 3 deaths due to the inhalation of the gases. 8 more suffered from serious injuries. Amongst the dead was her husband. A tragedy, an incredibly sad event that changed her and her family's life forever.
Я нахожусь под дверями реанимации. Кто умер, я не знаю. Валя в реанимации находится, я не знаю, в каком состоянии. Вали больше нет с нами. Еще Наташа и Юля. Больше никаких комментариев не могу дать. Я написала записку не разглашение информации, больше ничего не могу сказать. Вчера не ревела, а сегодня меня прям прорвало. Я вчера думала, что это неправда. Я думала, что это сон.